All right, so got a fun, exciting talk here that Parker, I think, has a really cool achievement here. He has just skated the 24-hour event in Miami, and that is on it's on what track is that on?
It's the Homestead Miami Speedway. Yeah, I got the
Ah,
swag T-shirt, all cool things.
nice.
It's actually really, really, really freaking nice. Like dry fit, like it's one of the
All
best
right.
shirts I've done from an event.
What's this event? What's the name of the event and who's putting it on?
It's the Ultra Skate, and it's put on by a longboard group. It's like ISDA. It's mostly what they do is this event and a couple other like really, really long distance events. And this was the first year that they actually allowed inline skates and quad skates officially to be in this event. Like we have our own little boxes we can tick, like we can pay for this and there. We even get trophies and stuff if you do really good. It's all because of John Rodriguez. Yeah, what up, John?
Love John, one of our local Miami skaters, right? Inline skaters. So he's always
Host with
hooking
the
us up.
most. Host with the most, man. Helps put on a skater migration pretty much every year. Love that guy. But yeah, because of him, last year he got a couple of derby girls together and they had a team and they really wanted to go skate the event. And they were like, more people, more money, people come out. Hey, come on, bring your friends. And because they did so nice and were so awesome to everybody, they're like, I guess can come back next year and we'll add more people. So
Nice. Yeah, that's super cool. I saw a documentary of this event, this longboarding part up on YouTube. They've got a really cool 30-minute documentary.
push. That is, it's so good.
Really
Like it
good.
makes you want to go.
Yeah, so it was cool seeing that. So you went into this. This is not your first 24-hour foray, right? Like you've done, which one was it? Montreal.
Yep, I believe it was 2016. Actually, medal from it. Let's see. Yeah, 2016 was when we did it.
Cool. And then
First that one too.
yeah, you won
Thanks,
that one
Sam.
in the solo division. Much help from Sam Fistel, who'd won it many times. And what was the mileage you had for that year?
273.7 if you do the math out. My little app things as I did 272, but
Yep.
round edge it.
I mean, when you get to that many miles, who's really, how many decimals are you going to get to, right? But very cool. So for 24-hour event, it's basically you could either have teams, and the teams could be of X number of skaters, with X being down to as little as one, right? So you have your solo division, which is obviously your favorite one.
Oh yeah.
And and the idea is to complete as many miles and laps as you can in 24 hours, and that you could choose to go very fast, right? Or you could choose to go slower, you could choose to take breaks, you could choose whatever all that stuff was. So with that in mind, what was your goal going into this Miami event?
So honestly, this wasn't the event I was planning on. I was planning on going to Lamar
Yeah.
again. You know,
We know we were there. They canceled it.
third, fourth year now we've gotten it canceled.
They canceled it, what, because of the heat wave? They canceled it last year because of the pandemic. It's been postponed again this year for, I mean, yeah, we registered already. They just keep pushing our registration. So I think 2022 Le Mans, but in the meantime, super cool you got Miami. So tell me, what was the goal for Miami?
So during my training, I realized because I was doing Lamar training, so all I was doing was hills. I haven't done any flatline training like at all. So I did a couple of 50-mile skates to try to figure out what my actual pace could possibly be for long distance and then find hot spots. I figured out that I could do between 14 and 15 miles an hour pretty much nonstop until like I just got tired of doing it. So running the math back, it would be over 300 miles. However, like the push documentary that we talked about, that video they did, 300 miles for the longboard community, huge. They have like special trophies and awards. There's only like 8 people in the whole world who've ever done it. So I figured I could do about 300, and the longest distance I've ever done, that 272. So I was like, okay, it's 20, 30 miles more than that. So, okay, 300, it's a big number. Everybody knows that number, and you can tell people I did 300. So that was a goal. And if I did 14-mile-an-hour average for only 23 hours, I would still get 300 miles and have a little bit like mess up and an hour to play with. So that was the goal, was 300.
Cool. Awesome. Like nice, solid number. And then also like looking into that strategy that you had, that was basically, you did not plan to sleep. You did not really plan to stop, right? Like your idea was, you have 24 hours, you're going to use as much of it as you can. You're going to pace yourself in a way that gives you a little margin, right? Like that was the goal, right?
totally. Like, nothing else. Like, they were like, what about this? No, just 300. Anything else is gravy. Like, if I made it, great. But I would literally crawl. Like, if I had to, like, basically take my skates and just walk around the track, I would get the 300. That was all I needed.
Cool. Now you had this course was something we've never skated on. So what were, obviously for inline skates, the road surface matters a lot for this sort of stuff. So what was that course like being on a raceway?
So they apparently within the last like year or two had repaved the whole speedway. It was perfect, like absolutely gorgeous asphalt. I couldn't like you as far as smoothness goes. There was two spots, maybe 10 feet long each, maybe if that. They were a little rough, but it was gorgeous. The pit area that you had to go down the pit lane, perfect. The backstretch, perfect. But one thing that was bad, and we learned this after the event, when I pretty much broke down all this equipment. It was so dusty and dirty. Nobody had any idea until he got done, and he was just like, "Oh my god!" Like I got some pictures on my Instagram where like you can see I'm taking my finger, you can just pull off the gunk on your hands. Like, oh my god! But you couldn't have asked for like a nicer track. It was unbelievable. The pits were great. You literally, because I did most of the event unassisted. I literally had my duffel bag full of all my stuff I needed sitting right there. I literally took one step. I didn't step off the track. I could reach up and just grab whatever I wanted from it.
Nice.
So nice.
So let's talk about that. Like, so you had your duffel bag. Obviously, you had all your prep beforehand. So, well, let's talk about that first. What was it you had in mind? What was it you were going to like bring to the track to have with you on the course? What did you carry versus what was in that duffel bag? Let's talk about that. Or everyone's favorite, what was your nutrition strategy? But really, what just kept you going? Like,
Oh,
in terms of
nutrition. Yeah, I'll do that one last. I kind of messed that one up. Since it was just an oval, you're just going around, it's like 1.46 or 1.45 miles around it every time. I didn't really need to carry any of my nutrition with me because I'm just going to be back there again. And like, I think my average lap time was like 7-ish. I think my longer ones were like 10.
For a lot of it, you're closer to 6 minutes, it seemed, looking at the
Okay.
event. So 6 minutes is not a very long time to wait. If you need anything, 6 minutes.
I need water. Like you can wait like a couple of minutes.
Yep, for sure.
So I tried to carry nothing if I could help it. I had my cell phone. It's like an iPhone XR, I think. I had my headphone charging case with me just because linking something would mess up. I could pair it up again. And then I had a mobile USB powered like little battery jump box for the phone itself. That was it that actually had to carry on my person. Oh, a skate tool. Always had a skate tool just sitting in my back pocket because even if it's only 1.4, how many times do we watch people just go, "I need a tool," and that many of us inliners there, and yeah, we're
not going to drop names about who we've heard that from, but like, yeah, we've seen that from high profile skaters. Just don't have a skate tool that can literally destroy your whole event. Cool. So that was great that you didn't carry anything. We'll get to the nutrition a little later. So I guess the thing I want to ask next is just what was the thing you were most concerned about? What did you think was going to be the biggest challenge going into this to complete 300 miles in 24 hours? Clearly, you've had plenty of experience in life, just pulling long nights and days and hours. So that may have been one of your strength points. Not everyone has that, but what did you think would be the thing that would break down?
Embarrassingly so, because I'm such a hardware and like I like to customize and make all my stuff. But embarrassingly, honestly, the skate I thought it was going to kill me. So I've got 3 skates that I use currently. I have a pair of right there. So I see them about Adapt GTOs. I have the Adapt Superleggeras. Then I have these brand new, thanks to you. Yeah, what's up, dog? Thank you, Sonic. For helping me get a pair of they were the FRSL Speed prototype something.
Yep. Some model that's in the works, and we're testing things out for FR. They've been really nice to lend us some stuff to try out, which is again super kind of them. But they know good skaters, which is great.
Yeah. So the frames I've been using EOS carbon 3x125s. Thank you, Trish. Yeah, thank you, Trish.
Yeah, that was the big raffle prize at Skater Migration a year earlier in Miami. So they came to Miami and it's another big event. So EO was great for sponsoring that in the raffle and getting Parker a set of those great frames. And that's the 11.8 inch 3x125, right?
Short ones.
Nice, the short one.
I knew they were good. I knew the bearings were good. I knew the wheels, yeah, MPC Bond, the Red Magics. I knew these were going to work really good. Used them before. But the boots, I couldn't get any of them to do exactly what I wanted. Lots of heat molding. Honestly, I ended up going with the FRs. They were giving me the least amount of trouble, the least amount of hot spots. Like there was no extra rubbing in them. There's no real hard point in it, except for around the cuff area. But the other ones, like the supers were giving me issues with like the toe box area, and I just couldn't do it. And then the GTOs, I hate to say it, I've kind of destroyed them.
Yeah, you have
They're a
to
little floppy at this point.
do a lot. Like the fact that it's a miracle those things are even still like usable after everything you've done to them. You probably put more use on those GTOs than most GTO users put together.
Yeah, treat them really well. But so the FRs were giving me pretty much no hot spots at all, which if you any skater knows blisters, that's just the end of it. So
Yeah.
I took those and I took a neoprene back brace, sliced it all up into a nice like little ring. And I was able to use the 5mm neoprene to wrap it around my ankle to give additional padding to these. So the one area I knew which was going to kill me, because turns out it did end up hurting me, but because of the neoprene, I was able to postpone that pain to like almost 3 hours before the end of the event. So it really didn't bite me until the very end.
So I just want to take a step back. Just with when you're talking about hotspots and issues and stuff, most skaters are not going to notice these things because they're out skating for say 2-3 hours, or they might have their skates on casually for even most of the day. But like you're talking about, you started getting hotspots when you're testing, and you're testing going at what, 50 miles?
Yeah, that was pretty much my number. Like after, geez, I can't even remember. The supers took about 3 hours before I could actually like really find something was wrong with them. The GTOs was like at 5. I started noticing it was just digging into like a bunch of spots because I wanted all the padding. And then when I did 50 miles in these guys, like I said, no hot spots the whole time. And then, like I said, just the ankle issue. But I could only tell that after I'd reached that mile mark. Before that, I mean, you're gonna go do an hour, any of these are fine.
Yeah, and I think that's something to keep in mind. These are all like really high quality skates you have here, and you're just putting them to limits that like very few people are doing that sort of stuff. So, you know, when we talk about hotspots, I think like we want to give the skates credit that they are amazing skates, but at the same time, like it's just extreme conditions are going to show this for any pair of skates. And that calls for crazy measures. Speaking of conditions, how was the weather on the track?
Yeah. So Florida, I brought a rain jacket just in case. It didn't rain once. As far as temperature goes, perfect. It was like 75 max during the day, and it was like 50 to 55 during the night. It was mint. Like you couldn't ask for better. However, it's also Florida, which means you got to deal with headwind. 2 hours in, so it starts at 8-ish. Unlike A, it didn't start exactly on time.
Yeah, but 8 a.m. to 8 a.m., right?
Correct. So, yeah, 8 a.m., 8:09, something like that. Yeah.
All right.
So, skateboarder time. So, they started at 8. At 10 o'clock, the headwind came into effect. It was roughly 18-mile-an-hour headwind. So, you're doing around the track, you had to go into the headwind every lap, right? So, you'd go from going, I was doing 14 average. So I'd go 14 average, right into the headwind, and it'd immediately bring it down to 9 miles an hour. Whew. I couldn't go any faster. That was it. So you had to go all the way against the headwind. And that lasted till 6 p.m. Only reason why I knew that was there was a really super nice longboarder guy I ended up chatting with. We call him the weather man because, you know, whether it's going to have weather or not, it's more important. So he was like, hey man, 6 o'clock. And he pulls out his phone. He's got 3 different weather apps. He's an older guy. Weather, just whatever. So he has 3 different weather apps going, look, they all say 6 o'clock. So all of us were just going, come on, 6 o'clock. We can just make it to 6 o'clock. It's going to be so nice. And then after 6 o'clock, perfect.